Pain. Most of us feel it, and all of us want to not feel it. But what is it really? Basically, it's a friend is trying to tell us, whoa, slow down, your body's damaged, and you've got to repair yourself. It's there for a reason, but if you weren't able to feel pain, would you be a superhero or would you be cursed? Well, Jack Quaid, aka Boimler from Star Trek Lower Decks, gets to answer that question. He plays a mild-mannered bank employee who can't feel pain and who has done everything in his power to avoid serious injury, which will ultimately lead to death at a young age if he doesn't take care of himself. But he does take care of himself. He's found a way to avoid losing his teeth and avoid losing his eyes because those who have sensitivity to pain do have a tendency to lose body parts because the injuries they sustain don't register and they end up having to have emergency surgery. But Jack's character, he doesn't. He's in good condition. And then he meets a young fellow employee played by Amber Midthunder, whom you might recognize from the Predator movie set during the colonial age. Awesome actress, and they have pretty decent chemistry together. Then the bank gets robbed, on Christmas of all days. So, after Amber's character is taken, it's up to Jack's character to use his ability and his knowledge of procedure and his impulsive nature to imitate Liam Neeson and return who was taken. But is it just a straight up rescue job, or is our young bank teller more than she seems? Like I said, Midthunder and Quaid have great chemistry. He's a lovable dork, and I think he's going to be pigeonholed into that role for life. Though I haven't seen him in Companion. I really should watch that film. But overall, his is the lovable dork character. Midthunder's character seems to be mild-mannered enough, but she might have a dark side too. But they both bring out the best in each other. The villains, the bank robbers, they're pretty run-of-the-mill. Not squeamish about killing or causing serious harm. But at the same time, they got their own foibles and they got their own connections. So they don't feel like mindless thugs, but they're not too complex. They sort of straddle the line. And then we got Quaid's character's best friend online, played by the same actor who played Spider-Man's best friend in the Homecoming films. And he looks really weird bald. But I guess that's his thing now. He's bald. Anywho, the acting overall is Not too over the top, but you can see Quaid tapping into his inner Boimler for some of the stunts. Letting loose a classic Boimler scream here and there. But he works. Because when he gets serious, he is definitely not one to mess with. Because he knows just how far he can push his body. And the bad guys don't know. So that's the advantage. As for the various fight scenes, they are gritty, they are visceral. Every smack, you hear it, you feel it, and it's just cringeworthy, but in a good way. Like, he's the human version of Rusty the Boy Robot. He should say, that would have really hurt if I had pain receptors. Seriously, he doesn't call to attention that he can't feel pain. He just shrugs off injuries using epinephrine to keep going. Throw in some gunplay and car chases, and I think Novocain could stand proudly alongside action thrillers like The Expendables, and especially Crank and its sequel. I would love to see a buddy action comedy with Jack Quaid and Jason Statham. Because, honestly, I think those two would do well as slapstick characters. Well, slapstick action characters. The runtime is pretty tight. It doesn't bog itself down in the details, but it also gives you plenty of information so you're not lost. Overall, Novocain was simple, but also complex. It swerves in various ways that keep the story interesting. And at the same time, it's just an all-around decent love story with a lot of really crazy stuff added in for flavor. And it makes for a very appetizing dish. Just not one if you can't handle someone seemingly in pain, but not. This is Mr. J signing out and reminding you, take care of yourselves, because pain exists for a reason, for most of us. And turns out heart sickness is far more damaging than a sledgehammer to the bones, or an arrow to the leg, or stuff like that. Stay safe and have all the feels.